Hola, señora.
Hi. We were wondering...
I was talking to the lady, Chico.
Hi, my name is Nicole Collard.
Concha Garcia. How can I help you, sister?
The corporation I represent is considering a major investment in Quaramonte. Your advice, as the head of an obviously successful concern, is precisely what I'm after. My assistant, Mr. Stobart, has a few questions he'd like to ask you.
Have you heard of a man named Karzak?
No? Who is he?
He's the reason we came to Quaramonte. We think he's running a drug ring.
Well, I hope you find him, but I've never heard the name before.
Can you tell me about the accident at the mine?
Accident? It was sabotage. Somebody wanted my mine closed down for good.
Do you have any evidence that the mine was sabotaged?
Not yet, but I'll get to the bottom of it. There'd been trouble at that mine for several months. The workforce was getting smaller every day. Someone had started a rumor among the men that the mine was cursed. Now the entire operation has been closed down.
Where's the site of the mine?
Several days upriver at a remote area known as Teoculcan.
Would you like a dog biscuit?
Would you like a smack in the mouth, Chico?
Does this stone mean anything to you?
I think it is a spirit stone carved by a Mayan priest, no? I don't know which of their many gods it represents.
Can you tell me anything about this statue?
It is Tezcatlipoca, the god of death and pestilence. That fetish would be considered by many to be a bad omen.
Do you recognize the icon on this label?
Condor Transglobal.
Did the company operate here in Quaramonte?
Yes, they ran an old container ship, the Mayan Princess.
Do you know who owned Condor Transglobal?
I've no idea.
You see this? It's my lucky piece of coal.
What's so lucky about it?
I'm not sure yet.
Nice buns.
That does not look very appropriate for the workplace.
Have you heard about the forthcoming eclipse?
I don't take much interest in things like that. One of the boys might know about it.
Now this seems like a bad topic. But still, it's there.
Would you be interested in these panties? They look about your size.
Is that your best line, Chico?
I'm serious. They were an unwanted gift.
Put them away before you get overexcited.
It was Conchita, the owner of the mining company. It was a store cupboard.
Keep out of there. That's where the explosives are stored.
Now that just makes me want to go in there even more.
It was one of Conchita's posse of hunks.
Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to Consolidated Mining. If you are planning to stay in Quaramonte City, may I recommend the Consolidated Mining Experience, an interactive hands-on tour of one of our deepest mines, with talking tour guides available in 3 different languages.
A tour of a mine.
Well, this is a mining company. What else did you expect?
Do you know anything about the eclipse that's due soon?
Me? No, senor.
Do you know where I could find Senor Karzak?
No, senor.
How come you're not wearing any pants?
I feel more alert without them. Kind of perky.
And your boss doesn't mind?
She suggested it.
A disgustingly handsome man.
I'm 2 of those 3 things.
Are you looking forward to the eclipse of the sun?
Not especially. Are you?
I don't know. I've never seen one. All I know about eclipses is that you shouldn't try to view them with the naked eye.
Please. Go away and let me get on with my work.
Ever heard of a guy called Karzak?
Can't you see I'm busy? If I don't finish this stock report, the boss will be mad as hell.
I couldn't understand why the female owner had surrounded herself with men like this.
She seems to be staring very intently at this gentleman just here.
Ever hear of a guy called Karzak?
No, sir.
Did you know there's an eclipse of the sun in a few weeks' time?
Yeah, Joe told me about it. He's having a party and we're all invited. Me and the boys are dressing up as evil monks.
Yeah? Cool. The guy was working away like an automaton. Do you know anything about the eclipse?
Yes, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I heard it's going to be pretty spectacular.
It's in a few weeks' time, isn't it?
9 days.
Thanks. Ever heard of a guy called Karzak?
No.
I have done just as I have been instructed, Professor. With the mine closed down, there'll be no one around to observe your excavations. Ah, I have visitors.
Just remember what I told you, General. There's really no need to make a martyr out of that man.
I'm sorry to keep you waiting, Senor. Welcome to Quaramonte.
Thanks. My name's George Stobart from California.
But what is this? An angel come down to earth.
Nicole Collard. Enchanté, mon général.
Pardon me, senorita, but I couldn't help myself.
Look, we'd like to ask you a few questions.
You've come to the right place, senor. Tourist information. General Graciento, at your service.
What a creep.
This is the tourist office? It says police on the sign outside.
It is both, senor. I am a man of many parts.
I can see that, General.
Have you heard of a guy called Karzak?
No. No, I never heard of him.
I hear there was an accident at the mine a few months ago.
That's correct.
A lot of men killed, weren't there?
A few.
30?
Barely 1% of the working population.
Barely. What a nice guy.
Is it true there's a restriction on music in Quaramonte?
Yes, there is. An emergency measure introduced by Nuestra Senora.
Folk music is a link with the past for some of these people. Take away their musical roots and what do they got left?
Easy listening.
You think easy listening could replace a musical heritage hundreds of years old?
Why not? It happened in your country.
Touché?
Are there any ruins around the city?
Of course, senor. Quaramonte has everything.
I have a friend who wants to visit an historical site.
Ronaldo will only be too pleased to conduct a guided tour. When he's dealt with today's paperwork, of course.
Who was the guy you were talking to when we arrived?
Professor Oubier, a visitor, senor, like yourselves.
Did you say Oubier?
Si, senor. Professor Oubier, a French archaeologist.
What's Oubier doing in Quaramonte?
Researching our rich and glorious past, senor. The professor is planning an expedition to some Mayan ruins. He came to see me to get an excavation permit.
Would you like a biscuit?
Are you trying to bribe me?
Well, every man has his price.
Mine is more than a dog cookie, Senor Stobart.
Have you ever seen anything like this before?
That's a native carving, isn't it? Where did you get it?
We picked it up in the market as a souvenir.
What do you think of these panties, General?
Oh boy, fabuloso!
They're yours if you'll tell me all you know about Karzak.
I told you. I never heard of the guy. Do I get the panties now? I told you all I know.
You told me nothing. Take a look at this label.
Si, senor. Condor Transglobal.
Can you tell me where to find their offices?
No, senor. I never heard of them, and neither did Ronaldo.
The lady at the mining company told us a ship belonging to Condor was here recently.
Conchita Garcia is crazy. If there had been a ship, do you think I wouldn't have noticed?
Oh, I believe that you did notice.
Are you sure you never heard of Condor?
Oh, yes.
The company is registered here in Quaramonte City.
You are mistaken, senorita.
The musicians out in the square say that a ship flying the Condor flag was berthed here.
They are simple peasants. They will go along with anything you say in the hopes of parting you from your money.
Condor is run by Karzak, isn't it?
Wrong again, senor. Karzak has nothing to do with anything called Condor, whoever he is.
Do you keep a record of companies registered in Quaramonte?
Of course, senorita. Unfortunately, all the records were destroyed by a flash flood.
Do you know anything about the forthcoming eclipse, General?
Such things do not interest me, senor.
I'll be back. A couple of special offer letters were strewn across the desk. I had no need for junk mail, especially someone else's. It was General Graciento, Quaramonte's reigning slime ball.
Slime ball is a better word than creep.
The television was showing what appeared to be a low-budget soap. A tall man with long blonde hair was shouting at a woman who was naked apart from a towel. I decided to leave the television switched on. It was a computer monitor with some kind of outdated game displayed on it.
It looks like Space Invaders.
I didn't have time to get sidetracked by playing computer games. It was the map which the General had been showing to Professor Oubier.
Senor. Leave that child alone. Senor.
Sorry, I forgot. Do you have a map of Quaramonte?
A map? I'm sorry, senor, but I don't.
What about the one on the wall?
Ah, that is an archaeological survey map, senor. Not suitable for tourists.
I'll be back. A gloomy passage led to the rear of the building. I wasn't going to try investigating the passage while the General was sat there. He had the eyes of a cocker spaniel set in a face like a deflated souffle. I couldn't help wondering what had driven him to work for a man like the General. Hi, I'm George Stobart.
Hello, senor. How can I help you?
I'd like to visit your prisoner.
Condemned prisoners aren't allowed visitors.
Condemned?
To death. He is to be executed. Knowing my luck, I will probably have to shoot him myself.
Amnesty International is going to hear about this. I thought Miguel was arrested for playing the wrong kind of music.
Si, senor, he was.
And that carries the death penalty?
No. You think we're crazy? While being questioned, he confessed to being an anti-government agent.
Are there any ancient pyramids near Quaramonte?
Si, senor. But it's not very impressive. It's in ruins.
That's perfect. Would you be willing to give a guided tour of the ruins?
I can't. The General would have a fit if I left all this paperwork.
Would you like a gourmet dog snack biscuit?
I would love one, senor. but I would have a problem with my teeth.
Toothache?
No, senor. If the general catches me eating on duty, he'll knock them out.
Do you recognize this statue?
Tezcatlipoca, the night wind. Take it away, senor. That stone is cursed.
You know anything about this eclipse?
No, senor. El General keeps me in the dark about most things.
So long. A filing cabinet stood in the corner. The filing cabinet was probably locked.
Why did you show him the stone?
I thought maybe he might know something about it.
Well, he does now, for sure. He knows we have it.
Did you notice that chart on the police station wall?
Yes, it looked like a map to me, but I couldn't make out the details.
Whatever it was, the general didn't want us to see it. You came on a little strong with the general.
I was merely flattering his ego, Georges. Every man has his Achilles heel.
Maybe, but that guy's weakness isn't in his foot.
Yeah, but Nico knows this, and that's why she is trying to exploit it.
That man we saw talking to the general was Oubier. Didn't you recognize him?
I never met him, remember? The guy I called in Paris claimed to be Oubier, but he sounded nothing like the man in the police station. Maybe the professor really is innocent.
Nah, it's too much of a coincidence that he's here in Claramonte.
And besides, George was the one who asked Nico to flirt with a stranger in the last game. So we can't really say much. Here is Professor Oubier. Now, if we entered the police station before we spoke to Duane, Professor Oubier, as you can see, arrives just here. Which means when we speak to Duane, our conversation goes slightly differently as he is a lot more careful about what he tells us. Especially with the fact that he has explosives in the back.
It was that suspect archaeologist Oubier. Professor Oubier?
Yes? Who are you?
My name is Stobart, George Stobart. Does the name Karzak mean anything to you?
Yes, I know him. In fact, if it wasn't for Karzak, I wouldn't be here.
What?
He's financing my expedition.
Tell me about your wife, Professor.
Please, I don't want to talk about her.
I don't think that we will get anywhere with accusing him of murder.
Maybe you don't, but I do. Why was she known as the Little Dachshund?
It was just a silly pet name I used to call her. Somehow some damned reporter found out.
What do you know about my girlfriend's abduction?
I don't know what you're talking about.
She was invited to your mansion in Paris.
Not by me, she wasn't. I haven't been home for nearly 7 months.
Have you ever employed a Central American butler or servant?
I've never employed any kind of servant, monsieur.
Would you like a biscuit?
No, thank you.
You should, they're good. I can't get enough of these things. Can you tell me anything about this stone?
Where did you get that?
That's my business.
How much do you want for it?
It's not for sale. Can you identify this statue, Professor?
Oh, yes. Tezcatlipoca, the Lord of Darkness.
A Central American god, right?
A supreme deity. Tezcatlipoca means, literally, smoking mirror. There. You see the mirror shield in his left hand? The Mayans believed he could look into the mirror and see into the hearts of men. He was the wind which came howling in the night in search of victims. And victims they gave him by the thousand.
Human sacrifices?
Men, women, children, animals, anything that bled. The steps of his temple ran red with the blood of sacrifices. The Mayans have a legend that says he'll return one day. I hope I'm not around to see it.
Do you see this label?
Yes. It refers to a company named Condor. What of it?
I traced that company here to Quaramonte. Do you know where I can find the offices of Condor Transglobal?
The company no longer exists. They went bankrupt recently.
I have proof that you are directly involved with Condor.
I used them as shippers to transport artifacts to a gallery in Paris. Beyond that, I have no connection with the company, which, as I said, no longer exists.
Do you know anything about this eclipse, Professor?
Of course. It's not the reason I'm here in Quaramonte, but I'm looking forward to seeing it all the same.
What's your interest in the eclipse, Professor?
Oh, it's purely a layman's curiosity. History is my subject, not astronomy. But I've been fascinated by the movements of the heavenly bodies since I was a child. I wouldn't miss a total eclipse for the world.
Does the eclipse have some special significance for you?
For me? No. For the ancient Mayans, it marked the end of the Fifth Age.
Perhaps we should be celebrating.
Ah, no. The end of each age heralds destruction on a global scale. The fifth is the final age, ending in the total destruction of the Earth.
Take a look at this, Professor. What have you got to say about that?
Where did you get this?
Never mind that. How do you explain these withdrawals?
I left my financial affairs in the hands of my secretary.
Including the withdrawal of funds in cash from your personal account?
I trust Gwyneth implicitly.
And why Marseille? Why the very place my girlfriend was taken?
That's obvious, Stobart. We are both the victims of the same devious plot.
What plot?
I have no idea.
Yes, victims of the same plot that he has no idea about. Ubier is definitely not innocent in all of this. Now this is where things get a bit convoluted, as we are near the end of this chapter. But we need to trigger conversations in a certain order. So there's going to be a bit of back and forth. And we need to speak to Duane again, but we can't do it until Ubier leaves.
Do you know Professor Ubier?
Yes. I understand he is about to embark on an archaeological expedition. He hired some equipment from me earlier today.
I overheard him talking to the General. I think they're working together.
What? If I'd known that, I wouldn't have hired out the equipment. Now, why would the General be interested in an archaeologist?
Now, I'm hoping that Ubier has left now. Phew, that was a concern of mine.
Did you find any evidence of Condor's drug smuggling operations?
Drugs? Hell no! Condor was a cover for the illegal export of Mayan artifacts.
So who was behind Condor Transglobal?
It was registered in the name of Edan.
Did you get the guy?
I don't think he ever existed. Edan backwards spells Nady, Spanish for nobody.
Do you think the General was involved with Condor?
Hell no. And if he's a general, I'm a Buddhist. No, that fella's just a mouthpiece for the real power in Quaramonte.
So the General is nothing but a puppet?
He's like Pinocchio before he met the Blue Rinse Fairy. Strictly strings and wood.
Who's pulling the strings?
His mother. Better known as La Presidenta, the dictator.
Is Miguel the reason you're here?
Pretty smart, George. I was supposed to make contact with him. By the time I found him, though, he was in jail. I've been trying to figure out a way to get him out since then.
Sounds good to me. Count me in.
Good man, George. All I need is a detonator.
How come you brought a truckload of explosives but no detonator?
Call me old-fashioned, but I say packing trunks is woman's work. I left the packing to Pearl, and I can't find a darn thing. Just hope she remembered to bring my denture polish. I'd sure hate to arrive back in the States with tar on my teeth.
All I can say is that if you want to make sure that stuff comes with you in your luggage, then you pack it yourself. Now, the detonator was the conversation trigger that I needed. Now, I just need to remember if I need to speak to Nico first, or I need to go back to the mine. Where is Nico? There you are.
There was nothing else I wanted to talk to Nico about at that time.
Okay, mine first. I apologise for getting this slightly mixed up. As I said, this is slightly convoluted.
Do you have any kind of detonating device in stock?
Sure. They're kept in that cupboard.
I don't suppose you have one spare?
I can't simply give you a device like that, no without a damn good reason.
The General has a chart in his office, which he was discussing with Ubier.
Perhaps that chart will tell us where they're heading.
Maybe, but I can't get anywhere near it while the General and his sidekick are there.
Okay, and that is the trigger to be able to distract them both. I was playing this for a practice run which went on quite long, and I thought I had it figured out originally, but it's just been a case of trying to remember and work out which order to do things in.
Could you distract the General while I took a look at that chart?
You're kidding. Did you see the way he was leering at me?
Yeah, you'd make a great snake charmer. Come on, 5 minutes is all I need.
Well, maybe. But it's your harebrained scheme. You do the talking.
My girlfriend has a favor she wants to ask you, General.
For you, my dear, anything.
I've changed my mind.
Oh, no, you haven't. She's embarrassed about asking you for an interview, General.
An interview with me? Fabuloso!
Well, I want to write a story about you.
You hear that, Ronaldo? An exclusive glossy spread about your beloved General.
Si, Signor General.
Look after things here. I'm going back to my apartment and I don't want to be disturbed.
I'll get you for this, Georges Stobart.
Don't worry. If you're gone for more than a couple of hours, I'll come and get you.
A couple of hours?
Yeah, something tells me that Nico is not exactly very safe right now.
It was the General's aide. Would you take my friend to the ruins now the General's gone?
I'd be honored, Signor.
Thanks. I'll go get her. Have you met the guy who calls himself the General?
No, I haven't. Is he a real general?
I guess so. He wears a lot of medals on his chest. The wrong side of his chest. At least for any army I'd ever seen. I've made the arrangements for your visit to the temple, Pearl.
Oh, that's just great, George. Why don't you come too, honey?
I'd love to, but right now I have to save the world.
Listen, sweetie. I'm looking for an official guide to take me to the old pyramid.
For a lovely lady, I would go to the ends of the earth. For you, I will go as far as the pyramid and back. But what about your husband?
What he doesn't know won't hurt him. Let's go, Beanpole.
As Pearl and Ronaldo set out for the ruined pyramid, I prepared to search the police station. It looked like a geological survey map showing the land to the southeast of Quaramonte City. About 60 miles inland and upstream was an area marked Teoculcan. It was a length of rope, knotted in a hangman's noose. I couldn't reach the noose. It was Miguel, the musician. I'm George Stobart. You're Miguel the musician, aren't you?
Ex-musician, senor. My career is finished.
Going to jail could be the boost your career needed.
Senor, I would rather die than live with this shame.
Have you heard of a guy called Karzak?
Yes. The old man spoke of him.
The foreigner? Professor Oubier?
That's right. This man Karzak is Ubier's boss.
Why is that noose hanging from the bars?
Ronaldo strung it up, for me to hang myself. Don't cry for me, Senor Stobart. When I am dead, the goddess will take my soul to rest in paradise.
Well, that's pretty harsh. Let's get this detonator and get him out of here.
I got a good look at that chart in the police station. It's a map of Quaramonte.
Does it tell us where Oubier is heading?
Yeah, a place called Teoculcan.
That's the site of the mine. I wonder why they're being so secretive about Oubier's plans. One thing's for sure. If the general's involved, they're up to no good. I'd like to talk to that musician Miguel. Take the detonator and get him out of that jail.
It was the detonator I'd taken from the mining company's office.
We're almost done here.
Here is the detonator, Dwayne.
Keep your voice down, George. You want everyone to know. You'd best go and warn Miguel that the U.S. cavalry's on the way.
Okay. Hey, Miguel,
What is it? What is happening?
we're getting out of here.
Who's we? They've sent the Delta Force?
Nope.
The Impossible Missions Force?
Don't make me sick. Much better.
Who then?
A retired greetings card salesman from Ohio.
I'm doomed.
You're not the only one.
I should have known you'd be trouble the moment I saw you.
Look, I can explain everything.
Get in that cell, now.
And what if I refuse?
He'll shoot you.
Okay, here I am, going quietly into the cell.
Very wise, North Americano scum.
One of the reasons I hate guns so much is the way they make people so damned impolite.
I hope you're enjoying your vacation, Senor Stobart.
Go polish your weapon, Ronaldo.
This was part of your plan, right?
Well, in a manner of speaking, no. I was all out of ideas. It was up to Nico now.